Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. My name is Angie France. I am the product manager with Prestige Senior Living. We have conducted these webinars over the last 3 years, and we have found that they have been a wonderful outreach for us for information regarding Prestige Senior Living and all the offerings that we have within our own communities. We currently have 42 assisted living communities, along with 20 memory care communities, including 2 in our skilled centers. And then we have 43 skilled centers as well. We are as far north as Alaska and all the way down the West Coast, down to Arizona, and as far east as, I should say, to Montana and Idaho and Nevada. So we're really grateful to have you with us today. One of the things that we like to do is not only share about Prestige Senior Living and all that we do for our communities with our Expressions Memory Care program and our Celebrations Life Enrichment programming, but we also like to look at our wellness programmings. We'll be focusing on wellness in the new year. And yes, January 2003 is right around the corner. And so we're excited for all the things that we have planned for next year. I know we all need to get through the holidays first. But one of the things that we really enjoy doing is providing resources for you to answer questions. Those questions that are in the back of your mind if you're looking for senior living, or maybe if you're just wanting some resources to get you through where you are in your home environment. Whatever the case may be, maybe you have a loved one who's in a hospital setting and looking for placement somewhere. All of those different scenarios arise as we go throughout life, and we want to be that place for resources for you. And so today we are really excited to have Emily Schwarz with us from ElderLife Financial. We find that finances with senior living come up quite often when folks are looking to move into our communities. We look at rent and level of care and what is available to us as far as funding our needs when we do change our home address to maybe a senior living community. And so Emily is with us today to share some really good information to help you take some notes. Keep that as a resource for you as you move forward, answering different questions about different types of loans and VA benefits and things like that. And so, Emily, we are really grateful to have you with us to present some of your information. ElderLife is a resource that we utilize in some of our communities, some of our residents utilize, and we're grateful that you're going to explain a little bit about what you do today and be able to answer questions. I do want to let everyone know that you will be able to ask questions either in the Q&A or in the chat, and we would ask for you to type those in, and then I will ask Emily those questions toward the end of her presentation. So Emily, welcome, and glad you're with us today. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be with everyone today. Let me share my screen and we will get started. Okay. All righty. So again, welcome everyone. I am Emily Schwarz. I am the Vice President of Sales for ElderLife Financial. I am thrilled to share with you financial resources for senior living. As Angie said, that is usually the biggest stressor when families are looking to move into a community. They're trying to figure out how they're going to pay for it. And ElderLife Financial can offer resources to you or your family to help you overcome that, because you want to move in and you want to take advantage of that wonderful lifestyle. And we're going to help you understand how to do that. So here is a look at today's agenda. I guess we've already probably done the introductions. I've introduced myself. You've heard a little bit about Prestige from Angie. And so the next thing we're going to do is an overview of financial resources that help pay for senior living. So what resources are we going to highlight today? First, we're going to look at real estate solutions that ElderLife Financial can help you with. We're going to talk about long-term care insurance assistance. I know that can be a very confusing item if you have one. VA benefits for senior living. You may have heard there's a VA benefit that can help pay for your senior living, but you may not understand at all how to apply for it and who's eligible. And then lastly, we're going to look at the ElderLife Bridge Loan that can really bridge the gap, the funding gap for families that are waiting for any of the other 3 items that I just covered to come in, as well as some other available resources that we have to educate your families about. And finally, as Angie said, we are going to have an open Q&A session, so you can enter those questions in as we go along, and I'm going to stay on and try to answer as many as possible before we run out of time. Okay, so a little bit of background about who is ElderLife Financial. Well, we were founded in 2000, so almost 23 years ago. And what we do for families looking at senior living is we provide a free consultation about everything that you see on the left side of the screen. And we are going to cover a number of these throughout the presentation. We're essentially a financial aid office for senior living. So many of you have dealt with have worked with a financial aid office for a college or a university. We like to think of ourselves as exactly the same, just for senior living. We provide ways to help families expedite and simplify the transition into that community of your choosing. So let's start out with real estate solutions. ElderLife provides a specialized network of real estate professionals focused on helping older adults. We understand that seniors typically are transitioning from the home that they've lived in for 20, 30, 40, maybe 50 years. 50% of seniors are moving from that home into the community. So this is a brand new setting for you. It's going to be a wonderful transition, but it is a transition. We also understand that typically the biggest equity that a senior has is in their home. That's their largest asset. And most people are going to use that home to pay for their senior living. So they're going to need to sell that home. Now, unfortunately, as we've all seen with interest rates going up, the real estate market is slowing down. And mortgage applications, new mortgage applications, are actually at a 22-year low. So while you have that wonderful asset to help pay for your community, you may have some wait time before you're able to sell that asset. Also, when we're looking at selling a senior's home, it can be different and more difficult than selling a traditional home. So someone who's maybe on their first or second home and you've only lived there a couple of years probably has a lot less home repairs and decluttering necessary before they can put that home on the market. Also, when you're looking at selling a senior's home, there are sometimes multiple decision makers. So we have the seniors, but we also have their kids, which may live in completely different states. And so everybody has a different opinion of how that home sale should go. How much should it be put on the market for? When should it be put on the market? And so there's a complexity to selling a senior's home, especially a home that someone's lived in for many years, in a different way than selling a traditional home. Oftentimes, we also see that it can be up to 6 months, maybe even more, before the funds from that home sale come in and start being able to fund that senior living. And that's because they may need to do home preparations, such as sorting through belongings, which child is going to get which piece of furniture and which picture and all of those memories. We're probably going to have to clean out the home. We're going to have to do some repairs if you've been living there a long time. We're going to have to list it and finally get that offer and close on the home. So it really can be 6 or more months before you're going to see the proceeds from your largest asset. This is a visual of how I think the families typically feel. So you come in and you take a tour of a prestige senior living community and you start doing that financial discovery. If you're thinking you're going to sell your home to pay for care, you need to understand those options, and you've got all those family dynamics. You're going to want to sort through your belongings, do the home repairs that I just mentioned, list it, get it under contract, and finally move into the community. Well, if you work with ElderLife Financial, what's going to happen is you're going to connect with one of our financial concierges. We're going to talk about providing you a bridge loan that helps you quickly get an approval and move in when you want to move, which will allow you the time and flexibility to get that home ready for sale and maximize the value of that equity in the home that you have. So ElderLife has a network of senior real estate specialists. We work nationwide helping seniors sell their home and get the biggest bang for their buck, the most value that they can get for that home that they've been living in for so long. And those experts are able to help with a free market analysis, a comparison to figure out how much you're really going to be able to receive from that home, They're also able to help to connect you with people that know how to do the packing, maybe moving, estate sales if you want to sell anything from your home. And then finally, with that senior living loan assistance, that bridge loan to help you provide the funds today so you can move in and then allow the home to get in tip-top shape before you put it on the market and sell it. So the bridge loan provides that immediate funding that allows you to move in when you want to move in. We're able to provide that bridge loan based on the cost of care and what you need to pay for every month and the equity in the home. And then once the home is sold, you're able to easily repay that loan with the home proceeds. So that's a little bit about how your real estate can work for you and how we can help you maximize the value of your real estate when you're thinking about transitioning into senior living. Now let's look at another way that people typically pay for senior care. They use a long-term care insurance policy. If you're one of those families that's fortunate enough to have a long-term care insurance policy, you had the foresight to take one out, you may have a great policy, but you might not have any understanding of how to utilize that policy. And especially your children probably don't know how to do that. They've never even reviewed the policy. So here are some challenges that we see happening with families that have long-term care insurance. First of all, those policies typically are very confusing. They're 40 or 50 pages long. They've been in your desk drawer for gosh knows how many decades, and the terminology in that policy is often very outdated. It can also be incredibly frustrating when you're calling the long-term care insurance policy to get the right answers. I can speak firsthand. I managed my mother's long-term care insurance policy for 5 years, and I cringed every time I had to call the long-term care 800 number because I knew how long it would take and how much runaround I would go through. Then the claimants are the family that are asking for the money, are not very well versed in how to maximize the benefit. I have to tell you, I got better at it as I went along, but when I started trying to trigger that policy, it was all, gibberish to me. I didn't really understand much about that policy, even though I've been working with senior living since 2008. So there are other challenges that come along with a policy, even if maybe all of those top 3 don't exist. The family probably has never read their loved one's policy. I certainly hadn't looked at my mom's policy prior to her needing the care. And then there's an elimination period pretty much with every policy, and it can range anywhere from 30 days, which is a month, to 180 days, which is 6 months, before you're going to see any funds from that policy that you've been paying into. And then sometimes, because these policies are so old, current state laws override the policy terms. So it really can just be challenging to get every dime that you deserve from your long-term care insurance policy. So how do we help with this? Well, if you connect with ElderLife, we are actually able to offer you a free policy review. We will help you understand who, what, and when that policy is going to pay out. If you want to move forward with triggering that policy, we can actually connect you with additional services that can help you initialize that claim. We want to help you maximize every dollar you can get from that policy and help with all of the communication with that frustrating company. Those resources can help you obtain medical records because you're going to need those to get that claim started. They can help you reduce mistakes in filing the claim. We want to shorten the period of waiting as short as possible, not as long as possible, and make sure you get that correct payout. And then there's those retroactive payments. This is something that I wasn't even aware of and didn't take advantage of, that possibly in the past 24 months, there may have been some medical triggers that could actually help you get some retroactive refunds. So if you had a medical event over the past 2 years, you may have actually already been able to trigger your long-term care insurance policy. This will reduce or eliminate that elimination period, that 30 to 180 days. If we're able to do that, you can potentially get an average of $23,000 in retroactive refunds, and you could get a savings of $15,000 on your current expenses if you're not having to wait that 1 to 6 months to get the benefits to start rolling in. So having somebody who knows a long-term care insurance policy and can help you trigger and maximize it as quickly as possible is a great resource to help you with your long-term care and help you get into the community of your choosing as soon as possible. So now let's take a look at VA benefits. So VA benefits is often a little known way to pay for senior living. If we do have veterans or surviving spouses on the call today, or your loved ones, this is a benefit that you have probably never heard of. The VA doesn't do outreach about it, neither does Social Security or Medicare. So there are many veteran families that are eligible for a benefit called Aid and Attendance that helps pay for senior living, but they never knew this even existed. And webinars like this, or when you come to a Prestige senior living community, that might be the first time you're hearing about it. So let's look at what is available to families in 2023. And I know we're still in November 2022, but the VA's fiscal year actually changes on December 1. So the 2023 maximum benefit amounts are really only a day and a half away. So I'm not going to teach you this year's benefit amounts. If you are eligible for this benefit, this is what you can receive for all of 2023. There are 4 monthly maximum benefit amounts. A surviving spouse, typically the single woman, is eligible for $14.32 a month. These are tax-free dollars, by the way, so you get everything that you're seeing on the screen. The single veteran is eligible for up to $22.29. A married veteran is eligible for one of 2 benefits. If the married veteran themselves needs care, moves into the community, they're eligible for $26.42. And if the married veteran is healthy, but only the spouse needs care, they're eligible for $17.50. So the veteran or the spouse is going to receive one of these 4 maximum benefit amounts. And again, tax-free, so this is up to over $31,000 a year. Now, how do you get these benefits? You have to meet 4 areas of eligibility, and ElderLife will help you understand this. When you connect with us by phone, we will go through these criteria. So I'm going to go through them rather briefly right now, but of course, we're happy to spend more time on any of these resources and criteria over the phone with you. So the first criteria of the VA benefit is wartime service. The veteran needs to have served during World War II, Korea, or Vietnam. We also have the Gulf War, but the length of service time is just a little bit different. The surviving spouse would apply based on the veteran's military service. You need to have served also for at least 90 active duty days, with 1 during a wartime period. So again, 1 day during a wartime period, a total of 90 active duty days, and any type of discharge other than dishonorable. You will need your discharge papers, also known as a DD-214, in order to apply for this benefit. If you do not know where your loved one's discharge papers are, or your discharge papers, we can also help you order your discharge papers. So don't worry, we've got that covered for you. And a surviving spouse always applies on their most recent husband. So if they've been married more than 1 time, they're going to apply on the last husband's military service. Second criteria of the benefit is medical. The VA is going to look at your care needs or your cognitive needs. And that might be why you're moving into a Prestige senior living community. The VA is looking to see, do you need help with activities of daily living? Bathing, dressing, toileting, feeding, transferring, ambulating are the 6 the VA will recognize. You need to document on a medical form filled out by any doctor, doesn't have to be a VA doctor, that you need help with 2 of them. If you're receiving assistance with a shower assist, just a helping hand getting in and out of the shower and getting redressed safely, that is bathing and dressing. So most people moving into a senior living community will qualify with at least 2 ADLs. Now you might also be moving into a memory care, and that would be dementia or Alzheimer's. That alone is enough to qualify. Maybe you don't need any help with activities of daily living. You just have a diagnosis of a cognitive impairment. We also see folks with macular degeneration getting qualified for this benefit because they're considered legally blind by the VA. So there is medical documentation that needs to be filled out. It's only 3 pages, but you do need to prove that you are medically eligible for this benefit. Third criteria of the benefit is monthly income versus monthly care cost. The VA looks at all household incomes. So even if it's a couple and only one person needs care, the VA is going to count income from both parts of the couple. So they're looking at all Social Securities, all pensions, all wages, rental income, and any investment income. Now, the great news here is by moving into a community, the VA will let you reduce your income. So you can subtract your assisted living, your memory care, adult daycare, home care, health insurance, and long-term care insurance premiums. All of these care expenses, medical expenses, help you reduce your income. If you reduce your income to 0, you are entitled to one of those 4 full benefit amounts. If you have not reduced your income to 0, you can get a partial benefit. And you definitely need to be moving into the community in order to be applying for this benefit. That's why this is a great marriage, moving into Prestige and then applying for the aid and attendance benefit. The last criteria of the benefit is countable net worth. The VA will ask you on an 11-page form, what do you have in savings? Fortunately, the asset limit for 2023 is also going up. It is over $150,000. So you can have savings and be eligible for this benefit. The VA is going to ask you all about your bank accounts, CDs, annuities, IRAs, stocks, bonds, real estate investments, and they ask you about it for both parts of the couple. Again, if only one person needs care, the VA still counts all assets from husband and wife. They will not count, however, your primary residence and 2 acres around that. So yes, I said you can have $150,000 and a home. You can have one part of the couple living in the home. It can be vacant. It can be rented. Doesn't matter. As long as it just remains a home, they know that you can't pay Prestige with a window or a door. Now, if you are going to sell the home, as we talked about as the first resource, which is often going to happen, and that will push you over the $150,000, there are ways to stay eligible for the benefit. I would recommend, again, even if you're over this limit, you should still give us a call and we will walk you through these 4 criteria and point you in the right direction of whether you're eligible today or whether you can be eligible in the future. If your assets are over this amount just because of your accounts, please also give us a call and we will walk you through what to do. We can connect you with resources that can do appropriate VA planning so that you too in the future can become eligible for the benefit. So some challenges with this benefit. First of all, it's hard to understand who is eligible. I know I just gave you the crash course on the 4 criteria. You probably have lots of questions about them, which I'm happy to answer at the end of this webinar, or again, you really can give us a call and we'll talk with you one-on-one. It's also difficult to understand what benefit amount you're eligible for. Are you going to get the single amount? Are you going to get the married veteran amount? Are you going to get the full benefit or partial benefit? We can help you figure that out. Then you're also going to need to be incurring care expenses in order to apply. There is a medical expense worksheet that you need to complete. And if you're not paying for any care, you're not going to be eligible for that yet. So then you're going to ask yourself, how am I going to pay for care if I haven't received the benefit yet? Well, that's where ElderLife is going to help you with some bridge loan funding while you're waiting for your VA benefit approval. And lastly, it is hard to apply for this benefit. It is a 30-page application, actually 32 pages for the spouse and 34 for the veteran. And there's an intent to file form that you absolutely want to use because it helps you get the next month's benefit even before you fill out your application. So today is November 29th. If you do your intent to file by the last business day of November, which is tomorrow, the VA will award you money starting December 1 if you meet all the criteria and you're paying for care in December. So again, if you're on this call and you think this benefit is for you, you definitely want to get in touch with us today or tomorrow so that we can help you with that intent to file form and help you secure $1,400 to $2,600 for December. So how do we help families? We have an aid and attendance department. When you call us, we are going to immediately help you understand your eligibility now or in the future. We have an online application software. It's similar to tax preparation software that you've probably used every April, although you're only going to have to do this once. So you're going to go online and you're going to fill out 10 tabs of information, and it will help you complete your application quickly and correctly. We have multiple filing options. So we have a do-it-yourself version, and we also have a full support option. We can also connect you with a VA or accredited attorney if you don't want to handle it at all on your own. And then that bridge loan again. I know we've talked a lot about that. I'm going to explain a little bit more about that in the next few slides. The bridge loan will provide you funding to your community while you're waiting for your VA benefit approval. We will provide the exact amount of your expected VA benefit check so that when you receive the retroactive benefits, hopefully to December 1 or January 1, depending on when you get that claim in or your intent to file, you can use your retroactive money to help repay your bridge loan. So they work perfectly hand in hand. All right, a little bit about the bridge loan, and then I'm going to wrap it up for you and see the questions that we have in the Q&A. So the bridge loan helps provide the funding from when a senior needs and wants the care to the time they can afford the care. We've talked about lots of different ways to pay for senior living, and all of them have a funding gap. All of them have a period of time before you're going to receive the money that you're entitled to. Well, here's what the bridge loan does. The ElderLife bridge loan is able to immediately allow you to move into your prestige senior living community. We can provide bridge loan funding in as little as 24 hours. We move as fast as the family wants to move. We allow you to make the best decision for yourself or for your loved one. We want you to maximize the value of your home. We want you to be able to apply for that VA benefit and move into the community showing those care expenses. We want you to be able to wait out that elimination period on your long-term care insurance policy that you've paid into for so many years. So if you want to explore the bridge loan with us, it's a very easy, free application. You're going to give us a call, and our financial concierge is going to walk you through everything that we need in order to review your application. As I've said, we can approve in 24 hours, but if you're not ready to move that fast, that's okay. You're going to work with the same financial concierge every single time you give us a call. So you're not going to have to retell your story every time. They're going to walk you through at whatever pace that you want to be walked through. And then we're actually able to provide additional funds. So if you need money for moving expenses, maybe you're moving cross country, or you have some home repairs that you've been delaying on, we can add that into your bridge loan. You might have an initial community fee. We can add that into your bridge loan. So we're going to make this as smooth as possible for you to move into the community of your choosing. Now, there are some additional resources that we will provide to you when you give us a call, and there are other ways that you can pay for senior living. So I'm just going to briefly highlight those. We already talked about long-term care insurance and how we can help you maximize that policy. We talked about how we have a network of senior real estate specialists. We talked about the fact that we are the most time efficient and cost effective way to apply for the aid and attendance benefit. But we can also help you with monetizing a life insurance policy. So you might have a life insurance policy that you're debating, am I able to pay for this policy and senior living at the same time? Well, if you are considering letting that policy lapse because you feel like you need the funds elsewhere, you want to think about selling that policy on the open market. It is possible to get tens of thousands of dollars from this policy that you've been paying into for all these years, and you can use those funds to pay for senior living. We also educate all families about tax deductions for senior living. So you may not realize that the cost of assisted living, anything that's going to help prevent, treat, or cure illness, any money paid to a licensed facility can be tax deductible. Even accountants sometimes don't realize this when they're doing your taxes. And so it's at the end of the year right now. If you've been paying all year to Prestige, you want to actually talk with your tax advisor about taking that as a tax deduction. If you're moving in, consider the fact that moving in is actually 20% less when you take it as a tax deduction. So we're going to educate families about that and provide you resources to take to your tax advisor so that you're able to take that tax deduction for your 2022 taxes. Reverse mortgage. So we don't use this all that often, but especially if someone is moving into memory care and maybe the other part of the couple is remaining at home and they do have that home, they're not ready to sell it yet, maybe a reverse mortgage is a good thing for them. We can connect you with resources to utilize the equity in that home to pay for senior living until you're ready to sell that home. And then again, you can always call us back and we'll connect you with that network of senior real estate specialists. So now I'm going to take a deep breath and see if we have any questions about the many, many resources that I covered today. I know there's 8 in the Q&A and you can keep adding more. And Angie's going to help me with those questions.
Thanks so much, Emily. You've answered quite a few questions and given us a lot of great information. The first question that we have is, for a bridge loan, what might the typical costs of such a loan be? And is it different from a HELOC?
So that's a great question. So there are 2 costs associated with the bridge loan, and we will definitely cover this one-on-one with you when you speak with a financial concierge. There is an interest payment that you would pay during the life of the loan. It's typically 9.99%. Of course, it is based on how much your income is and your credit score and a variety of other things, but typically it's 9.99%. And you would only pay interest during the life of the loan. So let's say you're borrowing $2,000 a month to make up the difference between your income and your rent and care. If you called us on month 1 and said, I need $2,000 sent to my Prestige community, you would just pay us the interest on that $2,000, which is about $16, $8 for every $1,000 borrowed. The next month, if your funding still hasn't come in, you're going to contact us again. We're going to send out another $2,000. So there would be the interest on that. That would be, let's say, $32 in the second month. So during the life of the loan, you only pay the interest. At the end of the loan, we have a fee. It's actually called an origination and support fee, but you don't pay it until your loan is complete. And that is typically between 3.5% and 7.5%. So let's say you were taking out a $12,000 bridge loan. That would be $600 owed at the end of the loan. So the interest, if you were borrowing $2,000 a month for 6 months, would be $336. And the origination and support fee that you would pay at the end of the loan is $600. So the grand total would be $936 to help you move into the community sooner. So the difference between that and a HELOC, I have to admit, I am not an expert on HELOC. What I can tell you is that we are able to fund incredibly quickly. We know that we are funding a small amount of money in a short period of time. Our loans range from $5,000 to about $50,000, and we will let people borrow between 3 months and 12 months. So it's not an incredibly arduous and lengthy experience of getting that loan. I know I have a HELOC myself. I haven't tapped into it, but I have one in case I need it. And it's a much longer approval time in order to get that.
All right, great. Thanks so much, Emily. Our next question says, does the surviving spouse need to be in a facility before qualifying for aid and attendance?
So you do have to show the VA your medical expenses. So if you're not in a community, likely the only medical expenses that you have are your health insurance premiums, maybe long-term care insurance premiums. And that is not usually enough to qualify for the benefit based on your income. So for example, let's say you have $2,500 of income, but you're only spending $300 or $400 on those insurances. The VA is going to say you have plenty of money to pay for your own medical expenses. You do really need to be moving into the community. You have to be incurring those expenses, and the community is going to sign a page of the application documenting that you're spending money on your care. And that's what triggers your eligibility for the benefit. So that was the long answer to say, yes, you need to be moved into the community.
Thank you. Let's see, we have a question. Are VA benefits available to a divorced spouse?
So unfortunately, if you are the spouse of a veteran. So obviously, if you're a veteran and you're divorced, you're applying on your own record. So no problem there. But if you are divorced from a veteran, yes, you are no longer eligible for this benefit, unfortunately. It does not work like Social Security. I know it is possible. There are some rules around Social Security that a divorced spouse can still claim on their prior husband's or spouse's Social Security. VA does not allow you to apply on your divorce spouse.
Thank you. What if family members are taking care of the person that will be filing, so there are no costs yet, no care costs yet?
Yes, I understand the question. So you have to be paying for care. So if you are caring for your loved one, which is usually the first step before senior living, your mom or dad is going to need to pay you as if you're a home care aide. So you are doing the service. You are going to need to get paid for it because the application is asking what that senior is paying for care. So mom or dad can pay you. You want to do it completely legit, above board. You want to have mom or dad write you a check or do an electronic payment, and you're going to fill out the application as if you were a home care aide. Of course, there's probably some tax implications for you because that is income for you. But that is a way to trigger the benefit prior to moving into senior living. If that's something that you need to do, yes, you can be the home care aide.
Very good. And two combined, what are your fees? And is there a fee to get all of this wonderful help?
So the only times you'd ever pay ElderLife is if you take out a bridge loan, which I described at length. Or if you want to use our online software, we have a do-it-yourself software for $199. And if you would like full support where we help you through the data entry, we answer 1 million questions, we review it before you print it out, sign it, and fax it to the VA, it's an additional $300. So a total of $499. But to talk with us, there is absolutely no cost. So I would really encourage families calling, asking questions about the bridge loan, getting connected with our VA benefits team to check out their eligibility. We're never going to charge you to have a conversation about what resources are available to you. That's our partnership with Prestige, that we're more than happy to have that conversation with you for nothing.
Terrific. Next question from Gary. Are tax deductions applicable to adult influencers or responsible parties?
So I am not a tax advisor. I would suggest that you definitely talk with your tax advisor about that, your CPA or your accountant. My understanding, my layman's understanding, is if you are paying for your parents' senior living and they are a dependent of yours, you may have some tax deductions available to you. So I would definitely ask about that. That's a great question. You're going to need to investigate your specific situation, but if you are paying for your parents' care, and I believe that you are counting them as your dependent, you may have a tax deduction available.
Thank you. The next question, my mother lives in California and I live in Washington. Is the VA option a choice in all states?
Absolutely. This is a federal benefit, so it is available in all states. And I'll also say this because you are kind of near the borderline of another country. It's actually possible if you were, it's crazy. You could live in another country as long as you're a wartime veteran, you could apply for the benefit. Not if you were a veteran of another country, but I've had that question asked. It is possible to live in another country and apply for this benefit if you're paying for care. Crazy.
Very good. Does having a service-connected VA disability affect the aid and attendance benefit?
Yes, these are really great questions today. Yes, it absolutely does. So the VA will give you whichever benefit is greater. So if you are receiving 90 or 100% service-connected disability, you are probably already on a bigger benefit. There's really not going to be a point for you to apply for this, although your spouse down the road might want to apply as a surviving spouse. If maybe you were only at 90%, she or he will no longer receive any disability benefits after your passing. If you are at 80% or less, the aid and attendance benefit is likely a greater benefit for you. So again, this is something that we will absolutely cover with you when you talk with our VA benefits team. Please be clear that you are on VA disability already and how much it is, and a general idea of how much, so we can compare the two for you. You do not get both benefits.
Good answer. Thank you. Next one, we have a caretaker that comes into the home to help take care of my mom. It's paid for by Medicare. Can this be used to apply for the VA program?
So you have to show that you're paying money out of pocket in order to apply for aid and attendance. This situation seems like Medicare is covering the cost, so that would not be a medical expense. It sounds like they are medically eligible because they've already qualified to get that free home care, but you would need to be spending money on care in order to apply for this benefit.
Very good. And can you share some of the costs centered around selling real estate or selling a home?
So that would just be the normal cost that you would have with your realtor. So there is no cost by getting a referral from us to a senior real estate specialist. That would be a typical realtor fee, which I believe, again, I'm not a licensed realtor, but is typically 6%, 3% and 3% if you're the seller. So.
Very good. Do you have to be in a prestige facility to use ElderLife?
You do not, but you do need to be a partner of ElderLife. So we do have partnerships, and Prestige is one of them. To partake in our lending network, we do have a partnership with Prestige. And so not every senior living community or company is working with ElderLife.
Very good. And we're grateful at Prestige to be able to offer this resource. Are there Prestige homes in Southern California? And I can answer that. Yes, we do have many communities within the state of California, anywhere from Oroville, Lancaster, Chico, Marysville, Manteca, Visalia, all of those different areas. We do have Prestige senior living communities.
I am going to share this screen because I think we might have covered them all. So here are some ways to, and feel free to add more questions in if you have them, but I see some people are getting off. I wanted to get this up there. So here are some ways to contact us. You can give us a call and speak with a financial concierge at 888-228-4500. You can also email us if you would like us to call you. Just email help@ElderLifeFinancial.com. You can also visit us on our website anytime at ElderLifeFinancial.com. You can even look at the bridge loan application right on there if you want to do that this evening. Or certainly you can contact your Prestige community and they can connect you with us right from their office.
Wonderful. Then I also have, what if I decide not to go to Prestige? Once I apply for a bridge loan, do I have the option of changing that?
So the bridge loan funding goes directly to the community. So we would need to make sure that that community would accept the funds from us. We know that if you move into a Prestige community, they certainly will accept the funds from us. And we actually send it directly to them very seamlessly every month. So that would be something that we'd have to see if it was possible, if we could get the funds sent to somebody out of network.
Thank you. And I do want to let everyone know that we will be sending out a copy of the slides as well as a recording of this presentation today. So if you want to review any of the information that Emily shared with us today, you will have that available by registering for this webinar today. And it looks like we are out of questions here, Emily, but you have certainly given us a lot to ponder and go over as we're making these decisions in our life. We do have several of those who have commented on what a great presentation this was and how helpful the information was, and I certainly agree with that. Let's see. Someone had asked if we were going to talk about the cost of living at Prestige and what it costs for those average costs. Emily, maybe you might be able to speak to some of what you see in the marketplace as far as average costs in senior living in general. Kind of give an overall view of that. Are you able to do that?
I think I can't speak exactly to Prestige's costs, but yes, an overview. I think I see an average of about $4,000 to $6,000 a month. It really depends on the market. If you live up in New England, which I'm actually fairly close to, it can be even more than that. And there are some parts of the country that it could be as affordable as, let's say, $3,000. But I would think the average for senior living is about $4,000 to $6,000. Would you agree with your costs?
I would. And I would just recommend that you do reach out to one of our communities locally so they can give you a cost breakdown. It really does depend on the city, the state, just the area of the country that we are in, what costs are surrounded. We look at, things like rent and level of care, and if there's an additional diagnosis for memory care, things like that. So each person is very individualized as far as, the costs that are related to them when they move into senior living. We have different sizes of apartments in each of our communities that meet the needs of our residents. Someone maybe still wants to have a 2-bedroom apartment where someone is just as satisfied with a smaller studio for less space to manage. And we try to work with families and with residents on that basis to make sure that we are meeting their needs. We want them to be comfortable. We want them to feel safe. And we want to provide that extra care that they might need. We also do independent living in some of our communities, which is a real advantage as well, that generally these loans do not cover. It is independent, like living in an apartment building, but it is a much more secured area within a senior living community, and more availability as far as activities and wellness events in the community to keep you engaged and having a really exciting and happy life. And so we do look at those aspects as well, if that's something that you're looking at. But as I said, it is very individualized per person, per city, per state. And any of our communities, our community relations directors are more than willing to give you those answers and help guide and direct you, and even reach out to ElderLife if that is something that you need help with and some resources from.
And just to piggyback on that, we actually do bridge loans for independent living. So don't hesitate if you're going to take advantage of that. Independent living doesn't work great with the VA benefit because there's no care being provided. But at some point, you probably will transition to the assisted side, and then you'll be able to apply for that. But ElderLife will give a bridge loan for independent, assisted, memory care, all levels of care. So,
thanks, Emily, for the clarification. I appreciate
that. Yeah, we want to make sure everybody moves in. So,
absolutely. So, and we would, like I said, we will be sending information out and provide information on the region that you are coming to us from. We know that we always have people join us from all across the country, and sometimes outside the country when they have family members here in the States trying to find a place to live and know what's best for mom and dad. Many of us are from the sandwich generation where we're taking care of our own children or through college or whatever, and we're also needing to take care of our parents and loved ones. And so we always try to meet you where you are. And I know that ElderLife helps us in that process as well. We are just here to be a resource for you. We've done these webinars on different topics to be that resource. And that's what we want to continue to be, whether you're making that decision to move into senior living today or down the road. We're just here to provide resources for you and to offer help whenever we can. And we do love to take questions in our communities and answer questions for you as well. Let me make sure we are out of questions here. Just lots of thank yous, Emily. You've certainly answered a lot of questions for us today, and we're grateful to have you as our resource. And we just ask that you relate to Emily's information on the last screen that she provided. As I said, that information will be sent off to you so that you have that available as well. So thanks everyone for joining us today. Any follow-up from you, Emily, before we go?
No, just thank you so much for this opportunity, and we really look forward to helping all of your families. I know this is a great partnership, so thanks so much.
Very good. Thank you all.
Bye-bye.